Yeah. Welcome to Resilience and Generosity, the Resilience and Generosity show. We are co-hosts of this resilience. I mean, we're resilient. And so Martie, welcome.
Hi, Jen. It's a pleasure always sharing the little tidbits of everyday life that I apply, that I didn't realize were so important and so key into getting through the day. And resilience plays a major role in my life now, not just because I wrote the book, but because I see that everywhere that I did get through adversity, everywhere that I did bounce back from troubles or confusion or chaos, it was there. Resilience was there. I just didn't know how to use that tool to apply to my, situations in general. But I'm
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk about
And we talk about resilience as being as bouncing back, right? Sort
it.
of
Mhm.
bouncing back from a setback. I love to alliterate. So bouncing back from a setback is really resilience. And nobody says you have to do it perfectly because it's messy. I say to people, I'm half amazing and half mess. You don't see the mess, but you see the amazing. But behind the scenes, there is a lot of messes, right? There's a lot of stinking thinking and lagging behind and getting stuck. Me, I'm all about being authentic and vulnerable so people can see the whole person, right? Not just the one that's showing up and doing the stuff that they need to, but because people feel so bad about themselves because they don't quote look like you, which I think social media is really dangerous in a way because you see all the beautiful photos and all the beautiful landscapes and all the things, a finished book, like you wrote, but you don't understand what goes on behind the scenes, right? That's what I
Right.
said. We're half amazing and half mess. So I want us to share today equally about the mess behind the miracle that people see, and tell us, because you're an author, speaker, you're all those things, but I know that behind the scenes there has to be some messes. So we want to share today the messes behind the scene and how do you then bounce back from those? You mentioned just now offline that you have to coach yourself daily. Tell us, give us a story and a strategy.
Okay, so I would go back to before I was an author and all these wonderful things that look so intriguing, so I don't know what, because it's unfamiliar territory for me, but at the same time I am so grateful. I
Yeah.
am so blessed to have noticed the generosity God had of all the tools he was giving me for the last 6 decades.
Yeah.
And what he was doing was handing me tools, but I was throwing the mess into my head, into my
Yes.
heart, building walls,
Yep.
disturbing my inner peace. And
Mm.
I didn't have anyone or anything to hold on to give me security and confidence and all the stuff that I tend to be exhibiting now, which I still pinch myself and say, wow, if
Wow.
you dare, if you are bold, if you really stand on your own 2 feet with your values, your virtues, and your faith, you can do anything. Is it easy? No, it's not for the faint of heart. And yes, you trip, you fall, you bleed, you cry, you sweat, but you pick yourself up and you give yourself, you have to be generous with yourself. Give yourself the attitude of gratitude, but at the same time, give yourself the opportunity to make a difference, to change. Look at yourself and dump all that stuff that causes all that pain and confusion. But no, it's not easy. And yes, you have to be your own coach and prep yourself every day, because every day I wake myself up and say, oh gosh, I could just stay in bed. I could just chill out. I'm sitting good. I'm happy with what I've done and
Yep.
accomplished. But no, it's like I'm on a mission. It's a
Mm.
God calling that He put me on this earth to share my story. And so you have to be brave and share and be vulnerable. Like you say, everything that you said in the beginning is what you have to do
Mm.
to overcome and bounce back. So
Yeah, but what's that thing that, I know that you've had challenges, lots of health challenges. And
yes.
but what is that thing? What is that strategy? What is that that helps you to navigate through tough times? Is it a scripture that you say? Is it a thought that you have? What help people to understand sort of what, because the people have a lot of roadblocks, mental blocks that get in the way. It's not physical. We don't see it,
No.
but you know what that is. Like what helps you to get through that barrier?
I think is taking a look at what is swimming in my all the thoughts, all the emotions that are swimming in there.
Yep.
And then I kind of do my list, okay, sort out what really I need to conquer
Hmm.
and that I can control, and the rest
Mm.
of it I toss out. And
Wow.
eventually, if you do it enough times, because now I'm seeing that this practice is developing my
Nice.
skill to bounce back a little better. It's like
Right.
you see the repetitive pattern, but now you're hitting the brakes.
Mm.
You're not gonna run off the road. You're gonna stay in the lane,
Hmm. Hmm.
but you're gonna have little speed bumps, and you're gonna have to shift quicker and think faster, or take your time with the clarity, because that's the most important thing. But how I get clarity:
Hmm.
nature,
Yep.
God,
Yep.
prayer, meditation, exercise, and
Yes.
just unplugging from all technology, and
Love it.
just living, just breathing, and
Focused.
breathe,
Yeah.
and realize the miracle we all are just on
Mm.
our own. And if we
Yeah.
really realize that, we would be able to bounce back. We would be able to handle a whole lot more than we are, but we haven't been programmed that way.
We haven't been programmed, and I want to add something that you said that was so pivotal. You said practice. Listen, nobody likes to practice. Everybody wants to be on the, in the Super Bowl. But before the Super Bowl starts, man, those guys are pushing it. Those guys are killing it in the locker room, on the field where nobody sees them.
Mhm.
And the coaches on them in like a sergeant. You were in our forces, and it's not pretty or kind. They don't I have a coach.
It's the
It's
ugly
ugly.
truth.
I have a coach that's, sometimes I'm like, wow, that's just so harsh. But in other words, she tells me, come on, get back in the game. So it's almost like you have to get a coach and then coach yourself, because
That's it.
sometimes your your feelings just override your your prefrontal cortex, and you have to say, this today I said that. I'm like, get back in there. Get back in there. It's like you're talking to yourself, like, and I never pay attention to what I say, because like I'm like, why was I thinking that? Like, what was the point for that? Is it useful? Is it helpful? Like you said, you a couple of things you said you have to get clarity. You have to get clear. You have to sift out and brainstorm what it is that's best for you to think, and then you throw out the rest. Listen, that is practice.
Mhm.
You didn't get there yesterday.
Oh, no, no, and have I conquered it? No, no, but
Mhm.
like I said, it happens quite a bit in anybody's life. It does.
Right.
And this is where I guess that empathy and that compassion for other people,
Mm,
because I see
yeah,
them going through that
that's right.
struggle.
Yeah.
And it's just like, take a breather, relax. Okay. Put
You've
yourself.
you've had to you've had to walk me off the cliff a couple times.
Well, yeah, but I hold your hand. It's just
Yes,
you
you
have
do.
to,
You do.
and that helps a bunch too.
It does.
When you have the proper support,
Oh my gosh.
a lot less painful, but
Ooh,
it's not easier. It's just
no.
you have that cushion to fall
Mm,
back on, that support that keeps you from
yes.
falling completely and just quitting.
Right.
And you have to I say the support for me helps me dust off and say,
Yes.
"Okay, regroup, regroup,
Regroup. Yeah.
and think clearly. What's your first priority? What do you want to get through?" And
Mhm.
then that way you start narrowing down what exactly is
Mhm.
all that mess, all that emotional luggage, all that
Yeah.
limiting belief that you've had stored in there. And
Yes.
then you're like, no, that's got nothing to do with the point right now that I need to conquer.
Yeah.
So the practicality of practicing is
That's
you
right.
can resort to those little references, and you
Mm.
start seeing the similar patterns repeat, but this time you're not falling for it, and you're not bumping yourself against the wall and saying,
Right.
I can't, I don't
Yeah.
want to.
That's
I
it.
just
Yeah, you give up.
me.
Yeah, you give up. It's like a toddler. It's like, I'm done. I'm just sitting in my poopy pants and I'm just done, you know. And I felt that way this week because this week was really hard. And I was like, okay, Jennifer, you have a toddler brain now. And I'm talking to myself. I'm walking put the toddler to bed and then get on to the adult brain, which is the prefrontal cortex. So I know what I have to do. And so that practice of getting clear is so
Mhm.
important because I don't know about you, but when I feel overwhelmed, I just I just feel like if I can't, and there's a low grade self-pity that happens with me. I don't know about you. It's like, oh, this is so hard. And you go to that whining stage. This is so hard. And oh my gosh, I just can't believe this is happening to me. It's like, no, life is not happening to me. I could happen to life. So
That's it. That's
that
it.
practice of, and again, we're not saying this as if we've arrived.
Mm-mm.
I'm half amazing and half mess. I say that all the time. When Marty talked about, this still happens at times, probably every day, but because you've practiced so long to having a system, I love systems and structure, even though I don't use it all the time. I love systems and structure because it helps you get more aligned.
That's it. That's it. And you have to gather the tools that work for you, but
The
you have to
tool.
be able to be in the present to recognize
Yes.
that. When you do introspection, I guess when I did it, I just kind of like looked at the whole mess. And my initials are MMS. And I used to call myself, Marty, you're such a mess. Because you're not M&Ms as in the candy. You are just MMS, a big mess. And I used to say that to myself because like you can't see through all that.
No,
You
it's a
just
fog.
like you
It's a
walk
fog.
into a store where they're having a clearance sale, forget it. You want to run from it because you can't find what you came to look for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's exactly how our mind plays with us.
Yeah.
It gets in our way of our emotions, our heart, and everything else.
Totally.
So until
Totally.
you sort
Totally.
sort
Totally. I
that
mean,
mess, you can't even make a decision. Honestly.
well, and in addition to that, what we're sharing here is that you want to listen, we never graduate from challenges. This is what I'm saying. Life is challenging. So that means if you are able to create a simple system with structure and support, you're more
Mhm.
than likely able to win in tiny areas initially. And then the practices, we can do, no coach can practice for you, which is why I liken it to a football team because the coach can't go on he can't play the game. He has to be on the sidelines. So similarly, with a life coach, we could help you to create the system, the structure, hold you accountable, set boundaries, but you got to practice it. And
Right.
I remember when I was younger, I was so anxious. I mean, I'm clinically. I mean, my parents didn't have money to send me to therapy, but I needed therapy and I didn't get therapy. But my island was therapy for me because I used to go in the woods. That's really what helped me. I used to go in the
Yeah.
woods and kick around with the shrubs and the sticks and do all kinds of stuff. That was therapy. I didn't even realize that until I was mapping out my plan. I was so anxious. I mean, I remember going to school and, I was sort of really introverted, who could guess? And I was telling my mother, please come to school with me. That's how anxious I was. I
Oh, I
did
used to be petrified of
I
school.
did not have resilience then.
That's
I did
it.
not have resilience, but my mother, who is just a blessed person, she would sort of coach me on the side. She didn't know she was doing. She said, "Come on, Jenny." She called me Jenny. Jenny, you can do it. Go on, you can do it. And she would sort of build me up. But I went scared. I mean, I did it scared. Every day I was scared. Every day I was scared. She sat on the sidelines, and here's what I saw. I saw her modeled resilience. Now, I didn't know what it was at the time. I saw her being brave, and I was like, oh, man. And I looked up to her. I still do. And I was like, well, my mom is like super brave. If she had to return something or she had to do something, she would come with this sturdiness about her. And I didn't realize, but I was mimicking my mom in a way when I was younger. But there were times when I literally wanted her to go for me in my place. And she was like, I can't. I mean, that's how, but some people are like that because that inner, I call it inner resilience, needs to be built up. It
It's in there.
needs to be
It's in there
in
or it's
there.
blocked. It's
It's
blocked.
blocked.
by all those limiting
Beliefs,
and all that
belief,
stuff that confuses your really, when you
identity.
approach a problem, it's like
Yeah.
first thing you normally instinctively do without anybody telling us, you look at it.
Yes.
And then the first thing you wanna do is go, I don't wanna look.
It's too big. It's too
It's
much.
like I can't confront this, but
Right.
that's where your mind wants to get rid of it quickly. So
Sure.
you just like dismiss it and go, I'll take care of it later.
Right.
But if you do that enough times, if you
Yeah.
practice that routine, you're
Yeah.
gonna see to the point where you can't see.
Yes. Yes.
You're gonna build those blinders and you're not gonna see anything but hopelessness,
Yeah.
inability to conquer any
Mhm.
small, and that's the thing, is taking it in smaller steps. Taking the little manageable chunks of the
100%.
problem, the decision you have to make and say, okay, and start asking yourself, can I work on this? Yes or no? Simple. And you said
Mm.
something about childhood, and I think we do need to act like a child sometimes. It's like, okay, don't complicate it. Don't put all
Right.
that
But not
knowledge.
childish. That's different
Oh,
from,
no, no,
right?
no,
That's
no.
different.
But
Yeah.
the simplicity of mind of a child,
Yes.
innocence that you
Yes.
don't know good or bad, you just know you got to
Mm.
do.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and that helps me. Like I say, I'm telling everybody that I'm reliving my childhood that I didn't get the first go round, because I do feel like a little kid in a candy store. But I look at the candy, I say, no, I'm not ready for that. So now
So
I know how to sort it.
now you know how to so but give us like three simple steps when I'm looking at something major and big and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is way too much for me. And then my brain gets flooded. Did your brain get flooded? Like
Yeah.
flooded and stuck. I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Help me, help us, help the audience have a simple framework. I'm talking three steps
Three steps.
to get clarity. Three simple steps.
First of all, be be in a calm environment yourself. Like okay, you have a problem going on. Say your car broke down and you can't get to work. The
Mhm.
first thing you're going to do is freak out. Okay?
Right. Right. That's just the brain. That's human
Yeah,
experience.
that's automatic response,
Yeah.
and those are our reflexes. Okay? But control
Yes.
your reflexes. Let that, okay. Freak out for a little bit and then
Yep.
stand and examine. Examine exactly how it is that you're going to get out of there. And a
Mhm.
simple question is, I need a ride. Where am I going to get it from? And I'm sure that you're going to figure out something to do. So don't take, and that's the thing, is don't take that problem as, oh, I'm not going to have a car for the rest of my year. I'm going to have to buy a new one. I can't afford one. I'm going to have to get another job. That's what we start dumping
Yeah.
in there, and we just start tossing. I say it's like tossing a whole bunch of garbage in there that doesn't let you see. So sort it out, then go by manageable steps. Manageable steps meaning, okay, I'm going to call this person. Okay, I got that taken care of. Oh, I got a ride.
Mhm.
Now, what am I going to do next? Got to get
Right.
the car fixed or whatever. And arrange it in a small way. Get your estimates, whatever. But don't stay on what's happened. More
Mhm.
or less, look for the opportunities to see what can possibly be done. And if you
Right.
focus on that,
Mhm.
you won't feel sorry for yourself. You'll
Yeah.
start eliminating all that. I woe is me. My
Right.
life stinks. I can't
Right.
handle it.
Is
you know.
another thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I too, that's cognitive distortion where we predict, oh, I'm never gonna get a car, I'm gonna be stranded, then I'm homeless. I have all this future fallacy thinking.
Right.
You're
It-
saying
it-
don't stay in that.
no,
Focus
no.
on what you can control. I can call a friend and they
Right.
can come and help me. That's number one.
And
And then, figure out, okay, what
baby,
do I do next?
baby
Baby
steps to figure
steps
out the rest.
to get
But
out of overwhelm.
then to like taking those baby steps and you get a ride.
You get
And
it
you
right.
find someone's going to work your car or whatever, then
Mhm.
celebrate it. Like, yes. And
After every win, after every
after
win.
every tiny
Yeah,
little win, even if you don't think it's a win to
right.
you, the way we're programmed is the win is I got a car working.
A big thing. Yeah. It's a big thing.
But
Yeah.
but no, you got to get to the point where you're feeling confident that this is going to get, and that's, this too shall pass. You have to
Yes.
remember that. This
Talk
too.
back to yourself in a
Yes.
good way,
And
in a good way.
that's your
Yeah.
coaching, your
You're
coaching.
coaching,
Okay.
it's self-coaching for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
don't quit, don't give up. Look at differently. And if you can't figure it out on your own, get help.
Get support. Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to surround yourself with the
Yeah.
people that have that mindset
For sure.
to
For
be
sure.
mutually a community that helps you and stands with you. They may
Yes.
not be able to feel what you're feeling,
Or
but
they may not be able to go with you like my mom
right.
couldn't.
But they'll be there in the background pumping you up or motivating you to inspire you to get it through. And then when you do it, you're like, thanks, and you feel gratitude and you're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that wasn't bad. No,
Yeah.
yes, I sweated and I cried and I cussed
Yeah.
or whatever, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
past it.
Yeah,
And
past it, yeah. And so every step is a win. And I really believe that the brain loves to get the dopamine hit, which is what happens with the feel good chemical in our bodies. And so I like the fact that you added that reward. One more thing I wanted to add is, you know, use that opportunity then to be generous to someone else. As we know, generosity floods the system with gratitude. And so, pay it forward. I say to people, pay it forward. Listen, what helped me get out of the funk when I was laid off 30 years ago was was that I started to give back. Simple. My mentor at the time said to me, stop the crying. It's been a while. Stop the crying. I was feeling sorry for myself. And she said, just start giving back. Volunteer. This is what she said to me. I was like, oh, that is so harsh. But guess what? I did it. I started to give back, and I have generosity as my framework starting from my mom. And so as you build resilience, which we know that you will build, because everybody, listen, you do not graduate from tough times. Tough times will come. So the key is to build up a resilient life, mindset, and everything else so that you can face the tough time when it comes. It wouldn't throw you down and take you over. And add generosity to that, because you cannot be grateful without being generous, and you cannot be generous without being grateful. Those
mm,
two are kissing cousins. And I'm telling you, if you build a life of generosity, I truly believe that you will gain resilience as a result of that. Now, Martie wrote a book on resilience. Martie, can you show us that book? And she is the resilient queen because of all the stuff that she went through. Part of the reasons why we're doing this resilient nourishes the soul is that resilience is one of the key factors in Spanish as well, one of the key factors for living, because you do not tough times will come.
mhm.
And I didn't understand it. I thought I wanted an easy life. I wanted things to be so comfortable, convenient. I mean, I'm just taking shortcuts in every life. And then tough time came, and it came again, and it came. I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I don't graduate from this.
And I say that society has shown us that image that if we're
Yes.
millionaires, we are
Right.
gonna have all our problems solved, money's
Solved.
gonna take. No,
No.
no, that is so disproportionate of what really is. And going back to paying it forward,
Yep.
I didn't know, like, I've always liked to serve, but I didn't know
Yeah.
that with all my surgeries, with all my trouble and everything, deep down in my mind, I knew I needed to be occupied and not in myself, but in
Sure.
others. And I
Yes.
did volunteer for 30 years now. That's half my life. For
Wow.
30 years as a Sunday school teacher.
Oh.
Not only did I gain the kids that I never had of my
Yeah.
own, I gained a family.
Oh.
And that family has built more compassion, more empathy. So
Yeah.
so so that generosity comes and you don't even realize that when
Done.
you're helping someone,
Mm.
the the multitude of blessings that surround you and that person you're helping,
Much more.
and if they gain something that they've never experienced before, they go and pay it forward to someone else. So
Yes.
that is that ripple effect of
Yes.
generosity that we if we just stop and thought about giving a little bit of ourselves every
Yes.
day. I'm not
Mm.
talking about give yourself
No.
completely away. I'm not
Right.
talking about enslaving yourself to other people.
What's boundaries? Balance,
Yes,
yeah.
you know your limits, you know
Yep.
what you can and can't do. But at the same time, if we contributed just a little ounce of hope or something,
Yes,
someone that needed it, you already are empathizing with that because you know what it's like to feel that lack.
correct.
And so when you gain that knowledge, it's like it oozes out of you and you can't help but wanting to make
Right.
it global. And that's what's happening with me. I never imagined global. I never did. I'm like, put it into my Amazon, maybe a little residual income. Cool. I wrote a book, la, it's done. Next. And that was my attitude with that. But then I put it out there and it's, oh no, you got you got something huge.
Well,
And you
I think that all the 30 years that you did, and I've been a Sunday school teacher for that not that long, but I love doing it. But I think when you put something out, it's like an agricultural framework.
can
It comes back. You don't even know when it's coming back,
see.
but it comes back in so many different ways. And so you can't lose when you're generous. You can't. There's no way. Our God is abundant. That means he never runs out. And so when you give your time, treasure, skill, talent, resources, it never sort of goes away and evaporates. It comes back. And
Mhm.
and so resilience and generosity is what we'll be discussing um as we go along, because those are character traits that are, I think, people want to be around you when you have those traits. People want to, like Marty was saying, connect with people who have some of those characteristics. Be in groups of people who have that, because guess what? I firmly believe who you hang around with really helps you to grow and change and learn. So don't be isolated. Don't do things alone. We were made for companionship. We were made for connection. We're
Right.
made for community. And so collaborate efforts with maybe just one other person, if you're just one other person, and befriend and begin to build each other up as Marty and I are doing one for another. And
And it
um,
is scary at first, especially if you are an introvert, because I was
right.
one. I was one. But at the same time, it's like you start taking those baby steps to get out of that
Sure.
zone. And then you start saying, wow, this wasn't bad. And then you start
Yeah.
getting a little braver and you
Get it.
dare to share, you dare to
That's right.
become vulnerable, you
Right.
dare, and then you see the ripple effect. And then you
Sure.
see, wow, okay, and now that person's doing what you were doing and their kids are learning from them and all of
That's
a
right.
sudden it's like, wow, this is cool. This is
This
really
is
good.
cool.
And it
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
cost me any money. It,
Correct.
it
And
didn't cost
might
me any
I add,
money.
generosity doesn't have to cost you anything.
No.
It really doesn't. It's so simple. It's so beautiful. And looking back and seeing my mom, visiting people in the hospital and bringing food for them and giving neighbors and giving homeless people. Literally, this woman is like the epitome of generosity. And I didn't even know who I had in my house until I
Mhm.
started, writing things down. I'm like, wait a minute. This is who I got it from, and I'm nowhere near my mom. Like I said, I really want to be her when I grow up. She's hospitable, she's generous, she's like all these traits.
It's
But
awesome that you were blessed with that environment.
yeah, I
If
didn't,
you're
but I
not,
did, but I didn't even, I took it for granted for a long time. Whole granted. And then it's almost like when you get to be a certain age, you wake up like, wait a minute. Wait a
mhm,
minute. This
what
this was in
happened?
my house the whole time. I didn't even know it.
That's
And
it.
and
I
so
think it's all phases that we all go through, and some of us hit them sooner than later,
sure,
or we fall down to the point where we don't know where to turn or what to look, and we start digging ourselves out of it. That's our instinct to get out of that
sure.
situation. We
Yes,
don't know how, and but that's where I say education and the right resources will
sure.
get you at least looking in a direction where you want to be. But it
Yes.
takes time, it
It
takes
does take
effort,
time.
it takes practice, it takes the sweat, the tears, the blood, and everything, but it's so worth it
I love it.
when you
I
gain
love it.
that knowledge, and you can't let it go. You can't keep it, you have to let it go and
You
share.
do. You
And
do have
it's
to
just
let it
that's
go.
automatic, like an instinct that I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. You surprise yourself by taking small steps to
That's it, that's
to
it.
to do that. So as we wrap up, what would be a call to action for people for the next time? What would you like them to take away from this? To do one, if you had to say what is one thing you could do today to build resilience? What would it be?
Give yourself. If you don't know how to give to yourself, you're not going to be able to give to anyone else.
Mm,
Okay? So give yourself the time to take a look at how you handle things. That write it down, dissect it. It takes time to do it, but it's so worth doing it. And maybe five adjectives of who you think you are or how you are. Like, are you generous or are
yep.
you selfish? Are you quick-witted or are you slow to process? Or whatever,
Yep.
just give yourself adjectives. And
Mhm.
you'll start seeing, because that's where you discover your limiting beliefs. You'll start seeing,
That's
oh,
good.
I don't know. How do I get that one out of there? Because you start becoming honest with yourself. And
Mm,
you can find a good adjective, and that's it. Pick the good ones. Pick good adjectives. You
okay.
start seeing that you're lacking in the self respect, self confidence, self whatever.
Mhm.
You're not applying what you want to see in the world. You're not applying it to yourself, so you can't give. You can't
Mm,
give until you
that's
receive.
good. That's good. That's good. I'm actually doing that now. And just trying to shift my beliefs around some cognitive distortions and stuff that I've been swimming around in my brain for a long time. So, I mean, I really, and in addition to what you said, I would say journal every day, even if it's for
It's
5 minutes.
definite. Write it down however
Write
you
it
want to.
down, write
And
it
don't
down.
worry about
However,
it being perfect words. It's your
yeah,
thoughts. And
it's
if
your thoughts.
if you're that confused about your thoughts, that's a clue right there.
That's a clue.
You
Yeah.
need to sort it out. So
Yeah.
that always take a look at yourself first is the most
Yeah.
important thing.
Yeah, and really spend the time. Don't look at what everybody else is doing. Look at what you want in life and what path do you have to take, and create a
Mhm.
path to purpose, because you have a
That's it.
purpose on the earth, and you are unique. There's no one else like you, and the gifts and the talents that you have, the world needs it. And
That's
so
it.
clear the path so we can we can enjoy some of your awesome skills and resources.
That's
Thank you,
it.
Marty. This is
Thank
always
you.
a
Thank
blessing.
you. Thank everybody and happy Mom's Day to all
Happy
moms.
Mom's Day.
I
Yeah.
wish my mom could see me.
Oh, well, she's
But
sending you a hug.
I know she did right. She did right.
She did right. Yes. Happy moms, and happy so many people out there who moms are not present. We just want to share happy Mother's Day. Love to all,
Amen.
and
Amen.
to every woman who has a mother's heart.
And even if you're not a mom, you still spiritually you are a mom. I'm not a
That's
mom
right.
myself, and everybody
Yes,
tells me
you
you're
have a
my mama.
mother's heart. You have a mother's heart. For those
That's it.
who
That's it.
don't have physical children, and you have a heart of a mom, have a heart of a, just a woman. Happy Mother's Day to all.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Bye.
God
See you
bless.
guys next week.